Chemistry is the scientific study of matter and its properties, as well as how matter changes. It explores the composition, structure, properties, and reactions of matter, from the simplest elements to the most complex molecules.
Now listen to part of a talk in a chemistry class. The mining of seawater for magnesium, formulation of over-the-counter medicines such as antacids, and treating the presence of minerals in your home's water supply are just a few of the many tasks that involve controlling the equilibrium between a slightly soluble ionic solid and an aqueous solution of its ions. Now, I know that sounds rather complicated, but let me explain. In some cases, we want to prevent dissolution from occurring. Tooth decay, for example, occurs when the calcium in our teeth dissolves. The dissolution process is aided when bacteria in our mouth feasts on the sugars in our diets to produce lactic acid, which reacts with calcium. Now, preventing this dissolution prevents tooth decay. On the other hand, sometimes we want a substance to dissolve. We want the calcium carbonate in a chewable antacid, the kind you may take when you have a stomachache. We want this antacid to dissolve because the ions produced in this process help soothe an upset stomach. Question: why does the professor discuss tooth decay? Why does the professor say this? The mining of seawater for magnesium, formulation of over-the-counter medicines such as antacids, and treating the presence of minerals in your home's water supply are just a few of the many tasks that involve controlling the equilibrium between a slightly soluble ionic solid and an aqueous solution of its ions. Now listen to part of a talk in a chemistry class. Now, scientists discovered that naturally fluorinated water could be beneficial to your teeth, and so it became common practice to add fluoride to drinking water. Toothpastes and mouthwashes also contain amounts of fluoride. Unfortunately, excess fluoride can negate its advantages. Natural sources of drinking water in various parts of the world have varying concentrations of fluoride, and places where that concentration is high are prone to certain health risks where there is no other source of drinking water. The most serious side effect of excess fluoride is the bone disease skeletal fluorosis. When excess fluoride is in the body, it can cause the joints to stiffen and the bones to thicken. It can severely impact mobility and can negatively affect the thyroid gland. Skeletal fluorosis is a condition that over 2.7 million people suffer from across the world. Question: what is the professor mainly discussing? What does the professor imply about fluoride? Now listen to part of a talk in a chemistry class. Now, when a liquid vaporizes in a closed container, gas molecules cannot escape. As these gas phase molecules move randomly about, they will occasionally collide with the surface of molecules of the condensed phase, and in some cases, these collisions will result in the molecules re-entering the condensed phase. The change from the gas phase to the liquid is called condensation. Now, when the rate of condensation becomes equal to the rate of vaporization, neither the amount of the liquid nor the amount of the vapor in the container changes. The vapor in the container is then said to be in equilibrium with the liquid. Keep in mind that this is not a static situation, as molecules are continually exchanged between the condensed and gaseous phases. Question: what is the lecture mainly about? What is the definition of condensation? Now listen to part of a talk in a chemistry class. So, decompression sickness, or the bends, is an effect of the increased pressure of the air inhaled by scuba divers when swimming underwater at considerable depths. In addition to the pressure exerted by the atmosphere, divers are subjected to additional pressure due to the water above them. Therefore, the air inhaled by a diver while submerged contains gases that exist at higher levels of pressure within the water, and these gases dissolve into the diver's blood. Now, as the diver ascends to the surface of the water, the pressure of the water decreases. If the ascent is too rapid, the gases escaping from the diver's blood may form bubbles that can cause a variety of symptoms, ranging from rashes and joint pain to paralysis and death. To avoid decompression sickness, divers must ascend from depths at relatively slow speeds, about 10 or 20 meters per minute, or otherwise make several decompression stops, pausing for several minutes at given depths during the ascent. Question: what is the lecture mainly about? What happens if a diver ascends to the water's surface too rapidly? Now listen to part of a talk in a chemistry class. Cooking is essentially synthetic chemistry that happens to be safe to eat. There are a number of examples of acid-based chemistry in the culinary world. One example is putting lemon juice or vinegar, both of which are acids, on cooked fish. Now, it turns out that fish have volatile amines in their system, which are neutralized by the acidic lemon or vinegar. This reduces the odor of the fish and also adds a sour taste that we seem to enjoy. Pickling is a method of preserving vegetables using a naturally produced acidic environment. The vegetable, such as a cucumber, is placed in a sealed jar submerged in a brine solution. The brine solution favors the growth of beneficial bacteria and suppresses the growth of harmful bacteria. The beneficial bacteria feed on starches in the cucumber and produce lactic acid as a waste product in a process called fermentation. Now, the lactic acid eventually increases the acidity of the brine to a level that kills any harmful bacteria. Without the harmful bacteria consuming the cucumbers, they are able to last much longer than if they were unprotected. The pickling process ultimately changes the flavor of the vegetables, making them taste sour. Question: why does the professor discuss putting lemon or vinegar on fish? What is implied about pickling from the lecture?